Avoid agitating fellow flyers this travel season. Forget about your occasional armrest hogs or fussy baby. These days, sitting next to seat kickers, intoxicated passengers and flyers with poor hygiene has become a new reality for travelers. And with the holidays just round the corner, a time when many of us will take to the friendly skies, dealing with irritating behaviors on top of already cramped cabins and steep airfare is enough to bring our rising frustrations to a boil. From trying to dodge the person's smelly feet next to you to tuning out the seat recliner in front of you, let's be honest, it's tough to avoid disturbances at 35,000 feet. But here's the silver lining, at least you can rest assured that you are not one of these headache-inducing flyers. Here are 8 common ways people alienate fellow passengers, plus simple ways you can avoid being a frustrating or flat-out disrespectful seatmate this holiday. /iStock photo. Skipping a shower before your flight. Bad hygiene is the leading frustration among 520 adults who flew the previous year, according to a recent airline pain index study conducted by analytics company Qualtrics. In fact, 45% of participants reported poor hygiene as a top aggravator. To avoid irking everyone breathing the same recirculated cabin air, George Habika, founder of airfarewatchdog.com, cautions to not only take care of personal hygiene but also to avoid putting your foot on another person's armrest or doing any kind of personal in-flight grooming. Kicking the person's seat in front of you. Perhaps unsurprisingly, 35% of flyers who participated in the Qualtrics study reported seat kickers as a top infuriating in-flight behavior. Expedia's 2015 airplane etiquette study also found that 61% of the 1,019 participants rated rear seat kicking as the most agitating trait among fellow flyers. Indulging in one too many cocktails at high altitude. Sitting next to an intoxicated passenger is a significant pain point among flyers. In fact, 35% of Qualtrics survey participants cited belligerent passengers as the leading culprit of bothersome behavior. And 45% of participants named intoxicated flyers the most offensive seatmate. Before you consider ordering numerous cocktails for a long-haul flight, keep in mind that altitude can elevate the effects of alcohol, Habika says. While some experts contend that the lower level of oxygen in the air at high altitudes can trigger fatigue and impact cognitive ability, but that alcohol is not absorbed faster into the bloodstream, others suggest that the effects of alcohol on cognitive ability are elevated in the air. Being unwilling to switch seats with fellow flyers. It's interesting that passengers say they're not annoyed when asked to change seats with Sami Niels, says Mike Mon, head of brand growth and global insights at Qualtrics. In fact, the study revealed that nearly half of flyers are not inconvenienced by changing seats upon request. Mon emphasizes general communication and common courtesy as key ways to uphold decent in-flight etiquette. And Habika advises staying flexible and being willing to change seats not only to be polite to elderly passengers or parents who want to sit with their kids but also to prevent unnecessarily stalling your flight. Insisting on hogging the armrest. As a general courtesy, the middle seat person gets the armrest, Habika says. Rather than elbowing your neighbor in a squished cabin, exercise manners and give the extra inches of space to the poor passenger stuck in the undesirable middle seat. He also advises staying conscientious of fellow flyers by respecting boundaries and not taking up extra space across the armrest. Be courteous, and says. And if extra space is most important to you, consider sprinting for a premium economy seat for added legroom, he says. While there's not much you can do once you're up in the air aside from controlling your own environment with tools like noise-canceling headphones, Habika advises communicating with fellow passengers and exercising kindness to de-escalate a situation versus fanning the flames. Acting rudely or aggressively toward flight attendants. Most people are doing their best. That goes for airline staff and passengers, and says. To the extent that passengers can diffuse a situation by treating their neighbors with dignity and respect, they can make for a more comfortable trip and avoid the risk of having to divert the plane, he says. A few kind words can de-escalate a situation, he adds. Tim Winship, editor and publisher of FrequentFlyer.com, says even if you're well prepared, nothing is going to make holiday flying a breeze. So relax. Expect travel to be stressful, he advises. And hope that other travelers do the same. Smuggling smelly food onto the plane. Instead of settling into your seat with a greasy meal in tow, Hobika advises enjoying your food on the ground to prevent disrupting fellow flyers. In fact, 30% of respondents to Expedia survey recorded pungent foodies as top etiquette offenders. Rather than disgusting your fellow flyers, skip bringing odorous meals or snacks in a carry-on. Overstuffing the overhead bin. Rather than trying to cram a bulky suitcase into an overhead bin a few rows away from your seat, consider your fellow flyers and their needs, and whether you're encroaching on their limited space. Expedia found that 32% of participants consider overhead bin inconsiderate behavior to be among the worst flyer characteristics. Many passengers get very irritated by limited cabin space, Mon says. If plenty of overhead storage space is an important component of overall comfort, consider splurging for priority boarding, he advises. It's also critical to be mindful of others when boarding. Be not shuffling through your bag when you arrive at your row and stalling the passengers behind you, overcrowding the overhead bin with smaller carry-on items such as backpacks, which not only take up plenty of storage space but can also make overhead bins more difficult. Clothes,